Schedule a free design consultation, and the more you buy, the more you'll save on blinds, shades, shutters, and more from Budget Blinds. Visit budgetblinds.com today.
Good evening. Bart Patiasek is off tonight. We begin with news out of North Battleford. RCMP are on the hunt for a suspect accused of pointing a firearm at 3 officers after engaging them on a high-speed chase. Now, it happened yesterday just after 3 p.m. Police say they were responding to complaints of an erratic driver who has been identified as 24-year-old Gabriel Joseph Poundmaker of Battleford. Now, officers made 2 attempts to apprehend Poundmaker, but they were called it off because of the high rate of speed. Poundmaker is described as about 5'11" with a slim build, black hair, brown eyes, and a black mustache or goatee. He was last seen wearing a black hooded sweatshirt and has tattoos of his name on both arms. Now, the vehicle is described as a black 4-door Dodge Charger with tinted windows and blacked out rims. He's facing several charges, including pointing a firearm, flight from police, and breach of probation. Now, anyone with information is asked to contact Battleford's RCMP at 306-446-1720 or Crime Stoppers. Well, sticking with North Battleford, 4 people are facing drug charges after police carried out a search warrant in the 1200th block of 108th Street yesterday. Police seized 2 ounces of marijuana along with cannabis resin, cash, and drug trafficking evidence. A 37-year-old man and 3 women aged 31, 27, and 20 were arrested at the scene. Now, the investigation is continuing. Meanwhile, a major organized crime drug bust to tell you about from several Saskatchewan, Alberta cities and towns. 14 adults have been arrested and are facing several charges. The investigation, Project Forseti, was launched in November of 2013. Now, search warrants were executed in Saskatoon and other communities. Some of the drugs seized include 5.5 kilograms of methamphetamine, 2.5 kilograms of cocaine, 107 grams of heroin, and more than 3,300 fentanyl pills. Now, roughly $100,000 was found and 200 firearms were seized, including prohibited and restricted firearms. The investigation continues. Well, it's been 5 years since an earthquake devastated Haiti. Efforts are still being done to help rebuild. Now, despite being thousands of kilometers away, one local man is showing what can be done to help from home.
I'm just an average person trying to make a change. We can't change the world, but we can change one child's life at a time.
Alden Reed is a local home inspector. He joined the Haitian Children Aid Society back in 2005 and has been donating to those in need ever since.
Basically, here in Lloydminster, we're rich compared to those people. Everyone here, even the poorest of the poor here in Lloydminster, is far better off than the children there.
Now, after the earthquake in 2010, the Children's Aid Society developed a plan for post-earthquake reconstruction. Most importantly, the redevelopment of an orphanage in Marabella.
It is amazing. The Haitian people are incredible. No machines. They mix their own cement. They bend their own rebar. Everything's done with wheelbarrows. I think we've all seen those videos where they're throwing the buckets of cement up on a roof. They do that.
The organization is currently $100,000 short of their final goal. And with plans to open up by March 1st, they will need every donation possible.
We're very blessed here. Business just seems to come whether we want it or not. And I would like to challenge those people to give us even a small percentage, even a one-time gift. Help us get these kids into the orphanage as soon as possible.
And Alden says these efforts have been extremely rewarding as it eventually led him to the adoption of his daughter, Danae. Well, it's a trend being seen south of the border, removing chocolate milk from school cafeterias. But a recent study shows taking chocolate milk out isn't actually making students more healthy. Now, in this week's Healthy Living, Annika Notveit speaks with a researcher from Saskatoon and has more on what this could mean for schools in the region.
Too much sugar. One of the reasons school boards in the U.S. are banning chocolate milk in cafeterias. But after recent research at the University of Saskatchewan, professionals say removing the chocolate milk led to a 48% reduction in milk intake, and the caloric difference between white and chocolate is only 37 calories. They say not drinking it at all causes students to miss out on important nutrients.
One of the most important one is calcium for their bone. The other one is vitamin D, and you know that vitamin D we cannot reach in Lloydminster in Saskatoon with the latitude that we have. At least 6 months of the year, we cannot get vitamin D synthesis in our skins.
The breakfast program at Bishop Lloyd Middle School feeds about 175 kids a day, and teachers say chocolate milk is a popular choice.
It's kind of almost like a treat for the kids, but still kind of sneaking in that nutritional value without them really realizing it's there because it tastes good and it's a special treat for the kids.
When it comes to pulling chocolate milk off the shelves, health professionals say one of the biggest things to consider is what alternative is going to replace it.
You need to have a combination of 4 to 5 food items, some of them cooked, to be able to replace the nutrients that you lose if you don't drink milk.
Unfortunately, usually that leads us towards going towards the juice factor, and we would much rather stick with the milk options. The milk has better nutrients for the morning for the kids especially than the juice would be.
No schools in Canada have banned chocolate milk yet. Anna Canotvate, Newcap News.
We are just a couple of weeks into the new year, but farmers are looking ahead on the calendar. Many look to long-term forecasts and trends from past years for a reliable prediction of what to expect this year. Now, in this week's Ag Report, Graham McCann speaks to a meteorologist about how abnormal and unpredictable weather is in Alberta.
It's relatively warm now compared to the frigid -20 and -30 temperatures of the past few weeks. And if rapid change of temperature from week to week can be surprising and unpredictable, try to imagine predicting the conditions of an entire growing season.
Alberta's climate is characterized by wild swings at certain times, and they're very, very difficult to predict. In fact, last year, around mid-January, we had 10-degree weather following a very snowy and cool November and December.
And with Alberta being a very large area, one place in the province can vary wildly from another.
So, for example, right now, if we look at soil moisture reserves across the province, we have down through southern Alberta, we've got soil moisture reserves that are at about 1 in 25-year highs. We only have to go up to Edmonton, and we find south of Edmonton soil moisture reserves are down at about 1 in 12-year lows.
Even though these are the conditions now, the drought of 2002 is a glaring example of extremes that show that you cannot count on how good or bad things look at the moment.
We had quite an interesting situation in Alberta. In southern Alberta, things were looking exceedingly dry that spring, and throughout the rest of the province things were generally okay. Well, that completely turned around as the summer unfolded.
There is a system available for producers to use to see the weather systems from the past. We will take a look at this in the next week's report. Graham McCann, Newcap News.